Okay, so we're gonna do an IRM. So what this stands for is intermediate restorative material, meaning patient comes in, they've lost a filling, you don't have time to do another permanent filling, so we're going to do a temporary filling. Another scenario could be that the tooth's been sensitive. So we're going to take the filling that's existing out, put a sedative filling in that we know is going to be soothing to the tooth, and see if that doesn't make the tooth feel better before jumping in and doing a root canal. Maybe just the restoration that was in there was affecting the tooth. So you can leave it in for not more than a few weeks is ideal, because it will start to wash out, but it'll give enough time for the tooth to calm down if it's going to calm down, or if it is in fact the nerve that's mad, it'll tell you, and then we know that we're going to jump ahead to a root canal. If it's just a temporary filling, then they'll come back, put the permanent filling in, and they're good to go. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your powder, and we always fluff our powder. And then you're gonna take your spatula and just get a little bit out. You don't need a ton, especially I'm just doing a small occlusal, so you don't need a bunch. And then we're going to take our liquid, and I'm gonna do about 2 drops on the pad. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to separate my powder into 6 piles. And each one that I add, you're just going to incorporate, and you're going to spread it out so that if there's any heat that's given off, it's going to dissipate on the pad. And then I'm going to bring it back together before I add the next pile. And with IRM, based on how you mix it, it can be used for different things. So if I mix it to a cement consistency, like how you guys were mixing the temporary cements, you can put it in a temporary crown and it'll work as a temporary cement. I'm gonna mix it past that into more of a putty composite texture. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep incorporating it. After you add some of the powder, it's gonna start getting harder for it to accept it, and I'm gonna force it. Okay, so I'm actually pushing it in and forcing it to accept it.
What is the putty composite for?
A restoration.
Restoration.
Yeah. All right, so now I'm just gonna add about half of this because I don't think I'm gonna be able to incorporate all of it. Once it starts, you can see how it's starting to break apart a little bit. That means that you're getting close to having it as the right consistency. If I was in an office mixing this and I wanted it to set up really fast, at this point I would add just a little drop of water and then add more powder. So it's gonna allow me to add more powder to make it set up faster. Because we're in here and I wanna give you guys time, I'm not going to add water to it. So then I'm gonna take a little bit of the powder in my finger, or between my fingers, and now I'm gonna roll it. This is gonna tell me that it's the right consistency. If I can put it into a ball and it's not spreading onto my glove. If it's spreading on my glove, you need to add more powder. Put it back down, force in more powder. If it's in a ball, now we're good to go. So then I'm gonna bring my model over, and I'm just gonna take my spatula and I'm gonna grab just about half of it. And then I'm going to place it on top of the prep. Once you get it in there, you can take a ball burnisher, you could take a plastic instrument, whatever you wanna use, and just place it in. If it starts to stick to the instrument, just dip it into some powder and go back and pack it in there.
So the powder just keeps it from sticking?
Yep.
And
Like dough.
which one's the powder? That? Okay.
Once you get it in, if you need to add a little bit more, you can go ahead and add more of your material. You want to keep it out of the bite. We don't want the opposing tooth to be hitting it at all. So we're going to definitely keep it lower than the other teeth. If you're not sure if it's lower or not, we're going to grab some articulating paper, have them bite down, make sure that it's not in the bite. But it doesn't have to be a super pretty finish, but take pride in your finish. Okay, this is your guys' time to make it look good. So once I have the initial in, I'm gonna let it set up for a minute. If I keep trying to mess with it, I'm just gonna mess it up. So after you wait a couple minutes, it's gonna set up a little bit to where if you wanna put a little bit of anatomy in it, you can, or if you wanna adjust it, then you can do that then. If not, this is pretty good for just a sedative filling to leave it as this. And then make sure that you wipe off your spatula before it gets dry. And there's your sedative filling.